Tego. President Neil Tego. President Neil Tego. I think what I'm going to do is this, and I need your blessing for it. Whilst this thing is coming, let's get this place. But they're down there. They said, oh dear. I was going to say, let's continue. And then when they arrive, but apparently they are down there and they are setting up. So, I've always believed in democracy. Do you agree that we wait for 2-3 minutes, or should we continue? Can I have a consensus? Okay. In Parliament, it's very simple. All who are in favor say aye, and all who are against say no. Okay, so now the aye, what does the aye stand for? Is it to stop it or to continue? So we continue? Okay, very good. So what I'm going to do is this. Once I found out that they, Neil, Mr. Diego, you are supposed to be presenting something. As per the program, both you and Esther and even Imran are supposed to take only 15 minutes. Total. Yes. Let them bring the balloons in, please. Where are the people? We are coming to do the launch. All right, so now, even though we operate in a democracy, I told you about dictatorship, yeah? And so there has been a ruling. They listened to the words and the wise counsel of the people and told the people no. So we are going to go for a short break. Whilst we're doing that, we're going to bring in and change the scenery as it is here. Okay? So,
the one you've taken. And I can assure you that those of us over there, we have a big group now in the United States. As of the moment, on the student level, we have about 150 students from Ghana in the system, about 25 fellows, and I believe about 60 associates living and working in the United States. I'll do my best to let them give you all the resources you need. You know, we'll do our best. But for those in Ghana, I've heard a lot of talk about, oh, some people leave. Yes, there are two sides to the equation. Are they being paid well? Are they being promoted if they choose to stay here? That aspect should be looked at, you know, because in any system, to get it to work effectively, you have to have the people who are using the resource to understand the value of that resource. And I don't think most of the CEOs, minus maybe the actuaries who are CEOs, really have a good understanding as to what actuaries bring to the table. To them, it's a nuisance. And somebody was talking about putting them on boards. Given how things work here, they'll be kicked out of those boards in a minute because they're not going to yield to the people's desires. If you become an actuary, you work on principle, not somebody's desire to do something. They have to prove it to you before you can sign off on it. And that is going to create a lot of confusion for these actuaries if you put them on boards. Because here, if somebody has influence, he will walk in there and try to get his way. And the actuary isn't going to sign off on it. You know, even in the US, it happens. A couple of boards where somebody told me that, why are you here? You seem to oppose everything that we are doing. Because they come with desires, in particular the marketing people. They conceive of an idea and it's a go, because basically they run the company. And then they run into somebody like me who will tell them, no, you have to justify to us that there will be a good return on this investment. You just don't desire things and walk in here and get it. I'm not signing off on it. You know, that is the problem the actuaries create. But if you look at a place like the United States, during the 2007-2009 financial crisis, no insurance company went under. AIG had its problem, but that was from its financial side. No insurance company had any issues because they have actuaries backing them. And the companies, they didn't listen to actuaries until the 1960s because you had men with money and big egos running the show. But when the Treasury stepped in and gave the insurance commissioners the power to act, you get off the radar a little bit, your company will be closed down in the US. And they started understanding why the actuaries are there. It would take time for people in this country to realize what actuaries mean to them. But we also have to step up and prove that with our work. And that is part of the reason why they put in the mortality table and other things together. I know somebody spoke about not getting enough interest rates. Yes, this is where the mortality side comes in big time. Because you were making money hand over fist, you didn't care about the mortality and the biometric stuff because the money was flowing. Now, the reality comes in. Insurance is about the biometric measures. The mortality is what you are supposed to do. Interest is just a little bit that adds to your profitability. But that became, you were more of an investment channel than an actual insurance company because you didn't care about the risk. So far as the money comes in, now you have to care about the risk. You have to run it as an insurance company. Forget about in the United States, if you, on your interest rate, if you get 50 basis points on anything, you've done very well. Mostly we're struggling for 30, 40 basis points. And in Ghana, you were getting huge margins. You know, I wouldn't say how much because I was a valuation actuary for one company. But now that is vanished. Go back to the reality, price everything accordingly. Make sure that everything is measured in the right terms, and you will get there. And this is where you will need the actuaries. We will collaborate with ASG to make sure that up-and-coming actuaries would be paired with their brothers and sisters in United States and Great Britain, so that if they need any help, we'll be there to help them. You know, they may yell at them, but you know, it would all work out. Okay, thank you very much. All the best to the ASG.
You see, the Gans have a saying, "Ono ji, ono, yours is yours." Prof put himself in a. If he had just gone quietly and sat down, he was actually trying to threaten me. Don't you dare tell them about what I'm going, how I spoke. Incidentally, I see where he's coming from. I understand him very much so. But Prof, you'll also agree with me that with the advent, whether people like it or not, with the advent of Donald Trump, everything's gone haywire. In America, he refuses to allow Dr. Tony Fauci to talk about COVID, and now stands and says that we can put on a disinfectant or whatever it was. You've forgotten. He's changed the landscape. Unfortunately, it should have been so, but it's not so, because the ridiculous Republican Party refuses to censure him. And that's the problem, because he's got a core base. But that notwithstanding, I can understand where he's coming from, because it's the same sort of fight, and Dr. Odum will bear me out, and I'm sure Steve will also bear me out. It's the same sort of fight that the public relations had. It seems as if it's the United States of America that gets their eyes open first, and that there's a distinction between, let's say, public relations and marketing. At first, it was just subsumed under HR or marketing. But I don't know who the Director General was. I suspect it was the late before J. Day, thank you. The late Henry Day. He moved and made the actuarial department, this is where I have a difference with him, reporting directly to him. In the same way, the corporate affairs or PR department, whatever you want to call it, reporting to him. The difference that I had with him was that I didn't think the actuarial department should be a department, it should be a division. But Smith set the way through Day. And since every Director General has continued in that line, seeing the importance of the actuary department. So important. And for the PR department, people will say, you wait till you get your crisis. Then you'll see whether you do need a PR department or not. It took Shell, I'm not talking about, with all due respect, Goyle, Shell, world over. It took them almost 15 years of trying to limit the damage that was caused by a shipwreck which spilled oil. You also know what happened in Ogoniland in Nigeria. For those who don't know your history, there was a Nigerian environmentalist called Ken Saro-Wiwa, who Abacha murdered because he was leading a campaign against BP and Shell drilling oil from the Ogoni land in Nigeria and leaving the spillage all over the place. So you see the need, the damage limitation you have to do for PR, for actuarial science where you guys operate. You're looking at the risks involved in your business and you won't elevate it to managerial status. You go and put it somewhere. Abaneke. All right, so the time is now up. I think we are ready now. The snack is ready, so we will go. I'll humbly request that we go downstairs, go take our snack. I'll come and call you, but because we need to reset this room. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your patience.